I knew. So clear. I could feel it. Feel it.
Glasswell, which I thought was great. It's a really well-made Europa as well, like, you know. And there we have the end of the SNP. Did anybody notice that they did this? Look at this. Leith Walk is now starts at the top of Broad Street. Look at that. It's difficult for me to particularly be interested in the opinions of people who are paid to have them anyway. I'm very discerning when it comes to that. The utter bankruptcy of neoliberal party politics. But I'm certainly not going to be interested in the moral disposition of somebody who defends Zionists. An old poster for the Time Secrecy. As far as I'm aware, Mackay has failed to mention anything about Palestine or Gaza. Look at this boozer. It's called the Vulcan. We're heading to the Chambers.
It's got worse actually, Bob, as well. He threatened me afterwards.
I knew that's a tear apart. I know some people paramount the meeting because you've got other things to do, which is...
For working class people in this city, life is pretty difficult, like.
The council are the biggest f***ing mafia known to man. Edinburgh Council, they are the gangsters.
People are pushed to the margins in every sense in this city.
All you've done is attack our community for decades.
They go and get their picture taken with Angus Robertson and you're taking a picture with a Zionist.
A bit like Edinburgh, all the f***ing families have been displaced when they took away the old Pennywell, the old Muirhouse, the old Nidri, and then replaced them with mid-market rents. The mid-market rents only for the people who actually existed there beforehand.
Edinburgh, for example, is kind of like the architect neoliberal city. DMT for the masses, not for the few. Do you live in Edinburgh? You're kind of doing capital's bidding when you do that. DMT is not a drug, and Shahid Wilson makes that point. Our devices, these smartphones, they all came from military technology.
Do you worship at the altar of Jeremy Vine, Lord of the pedophiles?
Are you outraged by over-tourism and dodgy developments?
They're all psychotic, self-involved, sociopathic, narcissistic perverts.
Genocide can't be just tolerated.
They're part and parcel of a corrupt system that sanctions the murder and destruction of all things and everything.
X is the world's town square. Well, here we are. Join us in the world's town square.
I don't want a local representative who's complicit with genocide, alright? Come here, don't make issues. We're post-politics. These people do not represent society, and they certainly don't represent humanity. The neoliberal party political class are a scourge on humanity. They are an insult to our consciousness. The two most important terms in our current paradigm are capitalism and consciousness.
Bonjour. Good morning.
If I should aim any other girl and forgive her,
How are we all?
you I will never forget.
Are you getting me loud and clear? Morning, you Sharpie. Bojaws McGlinty. Tis always a pleasure. Let me just find my where have I put my things? Don't switch. Buenos dias todos. Jimmy McRae. Morning to you. It is a good morning. It's a beautiful morning. Depending on where you are in the world, I would imagine. Morning to you, Arpignon. Rajwan. Good morning, Unfek Palestine. One doth concur. Emekbella, Madame Guy, JCP, East Lothian Art Festival, East Lothian Land Art Festival. The 15th to 20th of July. It's the best free event you could probably go to in Scotland. Is that right? Maybe. It's got to be up there. Is King Tubby a wee bit loud? We'll have to see. Like crop circles, Beldam says, aye. Bojos McGlinty says, it's Friday the 13th. Hope nothing dreadfully unfortunate happens to you all. Like thatched hair, like a Saxon. Indeed. I need to sort my lighting out. I'll sort it all out. Give us a wee second. Well, not today. Rick, good morning to you. You can't see this, but I can. Maybe I'll amalgamate the streams. I tell you what, if we start getting our total up, if we start getting some dollar in the bank, then we can start to improve these things. Morning to you, Dave Swift. I like this. I like my co-pilots giving me the loud and clear in that. European. It's the European that East. Explain to me, JCP. Excuse I'm not quite up to speed. Better than the Musselburgh Harbour Festival. A bold claim. Aye, well, it's got to be. It is better than the Musselburgh Harbour Festival. Although saying that, if anyone ever asks you where the best fishmongers is in Edinburgh, the answer, somebody's just left the chat. That's a fucking unforgivable offence at this time of the morning. The European Land Art Festival. The best fishmonger in Edinburgh isn't actually in Edinburgh, is it? It's in Musselburgh. IYKYK. Right, well, we're just settling in. We're just easing into proceedings this morning because there's been quite a lot going on overnight. Or perhaps it's or perhaps it was during the day, depending where you are in the globe, because we can be quite international on What the X. So the Zionists have decided to once again. Now I was just reading a report or a perspective on this that suggested it was that this is a kind of pre-arranged tit for tat type skirmish. Do we have any views on that? Is this just the spectacle that we're being subjected to here? Is this just a grotesque spectacle where a number of innocents have been decreed to perish, and then they're just going to call it a day and be like, right, and then we'll just get back to sort of market relations as usual. Or is it the escalation that we've all feared since our early days? Beldam says, like Dutch football fans meeting up on some waste ground before the match. Indeed. Indeed. But, well, you know, if that is the case, maybe that's the best outcome, although none of it seems to be a particularly exciting experience. Right. Let's get into it. There I am, and here I am. This was yesterday's. I was walking along York Place, and on this stretch of land, I promise, I witnessed someone on a bicycle. Somebody's getting a bit happy with the old sound effects there. I saw a bicycle on this bicycle path. I know it's hard to believe, but it is the truth. A bit of mischief unfolded as a result. But anyway, if anyone else manages to capture any cyclists on these cyclepaths, then please do. And then this account, where is it? Edinburgh Connect, who previously had me blocked. It's funny, they decided to unblock me. It's amazing who follows you from the shadows. What's he saying? What's that Bonnie Prince Bob chap saying on the internet? No, never heard of him. Don't know who you're talking about. Anyway, what's the story? Are we heading to World War III? Or is it all just a load of shite? So this is what this Evan writes on X. Now Shahid Bolson, who I'm a big fan of, he wrote this. I don't know whether to believe this or not, but I am a big fan of Shahid Bolson, and he said that he agreed with all of this. So what can we think? What can we make of it all? Evan writes on X, says, I'm clocking off now. Actually, I'll come back to this in a bit, because I can't be bothered focusing on this right at this moment in time. I think I'd rather concentrate on local issues. This is apparently what's coming. This is the local issues that I want to concentrate on. Coming soon. It's all pretty mental, the social media age. Bob, note how the ChatGPT changed the boy in the red trousers without it in the prompt. I need to go back to the bicycling madness. What was it that... what do you mean? He's got red trousers on here. I feel a bit bad. I'm normally very critical of people. I didn't really realise that I'd caught some boy on camera there. So here we go. This is... I don't know what you mean. This is you that did this, CCC second. I don't know. He just changed them, is that what you're saying? The Raspberry corduroy set. Listen, what is it? Why is it that folk in the Newtown wear red trousers and mustard cloths in that? Is it like a... When you buy a gaff in the Newtown, does it come in the gaff? Is there a wardrobe in your gaff and it's like, it's got the... Basically, that's the attire that's there for you. Is there a sort of... Is it like Mr. Ben? You get loads of money and then you basically... that's the drill. You get to walk about like that if you want to, if you're a Newtown denizen. The guy changes totally from your pick to the output. Is that a geolocated outfit then? Is that what you're trying to say? Good morning, Bob and the Bobettes, says Zambo. I miss you on X, Zambo. I can't. Why have you been removed from the free speech platform? What's this? Was told during beating the streets. That doesn't make any sense. John McFadden, you need to reword that. I can't even make sense of that, mate. So I don't care what you're trying to say. Anyway. What are we saying? Like, he does have red, but he's got red trousers on here. You just said it changes. It changes. He becomes more of a Newtowner. Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah.
Fucking. This is the first day that I wish these chats were amalgamated. A raft of madness. Right, let's go to Newtown Outfitters on Dundas Street. How can I see that over there but not here? See, we've already got we've got a sort of some kind of something. What's going on? Oh, here we go. Portillo in town. Is Portillo in town? Yeah, he does look like he's got a Michael Portillo vibe, doesn't he? Have we got a nice weekend planned ahead? It's Leith Gala over the weekend, and I might pop down there at some point. I think the folk that run it got a bit annoyed because last year or so, it was like last year or the year before, I was moaning at them because they got rid of the sound system. It's an unforgivable thing to do. But we know why they did that, don't we? They didn't want those ne'er-do-well dope smokers bringing the new Leith Gala Day into disrepute. It's a friendly family fun event now. The car-free Leith. Right. Let's go to my bookmarks. I hit a bunch of bookmarks, didn't I? Paul O'Connell. Paul O'Connell is worth a follow. Paul O'Connell is worth a follow. Paul O'Connell is one of the sharp people that has been saying it's long since time that we abandoned the Labour Party. I mean, I think we should abandon all political parties. I'm sure he'd probably agree with me, actually. But anyway, what's Paul saying? Israel now bombs Iran. The US, Britain and co step straight up to defend their garrison colony from Iran's legitimate response. Our ruling classes are spineless psychos, committed to the status quo at all costs. We need to rid ourselves of them before it is too late. One like and repost. It's just the facts, isn't it? Okay. Intel suggests all of Iran's general staff, including the head of the military, were eliminated in tonight's strikes by Israel. In fairness, Katrina says Walker Slater in Victoria Street does lots of coloured cords and nice cashmere jumpers if you want a Newton look. Walker Slater aren't in Victoria Street anymore. It's now Stuart Christie on Queen Street. And it's run by my pal Vixie. So if you're into that kind of clobber, get yourself on there. Same person behind it all. She knows what she's doing. I love it when people apologise. Nigel Smith. Sorry I'm late. I returned from Spain tonight. You on that cheap vodka? Liz Truss. Did we expect anything less? Did we expect anything less from Liz Truss? Thank you, Israel. We're 22 minutes in. Adam Media. I see this account. It's got a lot of followers. 341,000 followers. Says a comedian. Is this a Congressman Randy Fine, husband and father, proudly serving Florida's 6th congressional district? Check the neck of that cunt. That is the face of a. That's the face of a hooker fucker. I hope you have family in Israel when Iran retaliates. Fat scumbag. Republican Randy Fine. What's this guy called? This one's called. It's the same guy. Is it? Yeah, okay. Is that him? He's not wrong, is he? There is no suffering adequate for these animals. May the streets of Gaza overflow with blood. I bet you suffer trying to clear your digestional tract, like, you know what I mean? I bet your lower intestine is a sight to see. Look, I didn't. Right, I'm going to cut to a brief commercial break. I'll be back. Don't worry, we're here for some time yet. Get yourself a cup of tea and that, like, you know, settle in. Settle in. I'll stop this for a second. Be back shortly.
I work in Edinburgh and I live in Glasgow. Don't get me wrong, I love coming here. It's a beautiful city. It's really nice to look at, but it lacks a certain something, a certain je ne sais quoi that Glasgow just has in abundance. And it's the real capital in my eyes. And I think a capital city has to be sure of itself, and Edinburgh is not.
Why are they squares? No! Where are my circles with the arrow? No, I need my circles with the arrow. You don't know what I'm talking about, this video ain't for you, buddy. But if you know what I'm talking about, we're in a loss of something. Sometimes the bus wouldn't come, sometimes the app wouldn't work. But that's a relationship. Sometimes it's a love and a hate.
What we're seeing in Ballymena is a direct result of British colonialism. Loyalism here is fascism. They are one and the same. Their white supremacy extends to even being superior over Irish people. They attack immigrants when they are the immigrants that stole this land. And no, the riots aren't about protecting women. It's about loyalists believing they're better than the rest of us. Loyalism is a cancer that has been allowed to grow because our governments fund their bonfires of hate every year. In my estate, they have a kids' bonfire. You know, just to indoctrinate the kids early into white supremacy. If you aren't standing against loyalism, you aren't standing against white supremacy, which means you are the problem.
Does it ever just blow your mind that we all live in these little towns and the same thing is happening in each town? Like, there'll be a little Tesco and there'll be a school and the butchers and the estate agents and the aesthetics shop, and they're all running round doing the same things day in and day out, and it all gets repeated, and then it's happening in the next town and the next town and the next town and the next town, like a little parallel universe with all this going on. And you find you get similar people in each town, don't you? Like, there'll be characters in the town, and if you went and lived in another town, those characters would be there in that town. And I don't know, sometimes, because I spend a lot of time on my own, I just think it's mad, isn't it? You know, it's like we're all these little puppets, and we're all playing these roles and doing all these little jobs, and then we all, once or twice, or if you're really lucky 3 times a year, you get on a plane and you all line up and go and have your 2 weeks reward for all doing these things. I don't know, maybe I just think too much.
So this is Holyrood Park, and they've shut off this part here now down to Duddingston. What's the reason for it? Why is it shut off? Because they're just normalising making this that you can't drive through here any longer. This is what the Green Party are doing. Shutting off all these roads for whatever fucking reason that they come up with. But really what they're doing is they're making this whole area essentially privatised, because just up that road there's going to be a massive new multi-million pound housing complex of private luxury houses, which is essentially going to turn this whole area into the private gardens of millionaires. Right. I'm just checking, I'm still here. Right, so see that drill with the park, right? I think that there's some shenanigans going on here. So this was back in March, and Historic Environment Scotland is a quango, and the person that's now in charge of that quango is a woman that's very much part of the Green Party. She's like, I think she's got something to do with the Green Party anyway. Somebody can maybe find out the ins and outs of it for me. So what they're doing, right, is Lorna Slater and the eco-zealots and the people that have all got either ministerial transport that they don't pay for anything, or urban arrows and electric cars, but they want everybody else to not drive anywhere. So they've shut off the lower road at Duddingston, and they're also wanting to shut off. Been through this before. They want to shut off Holyrood Park. But I believe there's something more sinister behind this. It might even be, check the state of the Evening News. I mean, try to even read an article in the Evening News. What a farce. But basically, I think that because of this development, There is no rock falls, right? There's no rock falls happening on the lower road. And I mean, it's unreadable, isn't it, man? It's just unreal, man, honestly. Like, check the nick of it. Basically, what they're doing, right, is they're trying to just normalise the notion that you don't drive through the park anymore. Whether you go the low road or you go from Meadowbank through that way, they don't want traffic in the park. But they're completely unaware as to how significant a through route the park is for locals, right? And I'm finding this, like, this is boiling my piss, like, you know. And but I think it's more sinister because the Scottish Widows sale, which is in itself is a travesty. Anybody that came to see my live that I did at the end of March there, I think it was, will know what I think about this. The Scottish Widows building is an incredibly important piece of modern architecture. It's globally recognised. It's one of my favourite buildings in the town. It always has been. As a kid, you know what I mean? They had fish in it and all the rest of it, and it's a really cool building. And it should never have been the development that's been sanctioned should never have been allowed at all for a number of different reasons. But nevertheless, they're going to flatten most of it and turn it into an incredibly wealthy luxury housing complex. And they're basically going to turn that part of the park into a privatised area for Pollock Halls, for all the rich people that live up there. So that's what they're doing. It's a kind of stealth way of privatising a part of Arthur's Seat. What do you think about that? I mean, I know that What the X is truly an international. I think I've seen Niall Fraser had appeared there. Good early evening for Hong Kong. Great to see you, Niall. So we have a truly international audience, but at the same time, this is the hyper-local issues that we like to deal with on What the X. I think it's important that we juxtapose the thermonuclear threat of Iran and Israel with the Green Party and Lorna Slater, Chaz Booth and the eco-zealots, the fascists, the middle-class fascists that are Chaz Booth. The road is essential. How do you get from Loch End to Niddrie or even the hospital without the park road? Well, that they don't care because they've all got private healthcare and none of them have ever been to Loch End or Niddrie, so they don't even know that these places exist. So the people that make these decisions don't care. They're not interested. And this is why we really need to somehow figure out a way as citizens of this city to somehow come together, to find a way to come together to tackle what is being done by these parasites, these public purse parasites that have assumed control over the town. It's an absolute insult that the lower road to Duddingston has been shut off since March. And it's a complete affront that they're determined to shut all traffic through the park. I really find this quite a problem, I have to say. That's a big through route from Mosselborough into town. Yeah, but that doesn't matter. Where you need to go is no longer an issue because what you should be doing, according to these people, is walking or cycling. They're doing this for the benefit of our health. Let's see what's being said over here. I love that building too, very cool. It's a total travesty that they're letting that, but you know that C20, which is the seminal, the kind of like the main publication for modern architecture and for preservation of buildings and stuff. It's globally recognised as it could have been the most spectacular. It could have been developed into something absolutely incredible for the city, even if it was a centre for the arts, you know. or something. There's no ambition. These people have no ambition. They have no vision. They're myopic fools to a man, to a woman, to a they, them. And thanks to Hidden Doors' involvement, their pre-development soiree moneymaker, absolutely. Remember, they had a big party, and the way that they always talk about these things, you can always tell that the people that are in charge of these festivals and that are in charge of these events have got very little association with the town itself, because they just talked about it like an abandoned building. That's all they saw it as. They just called it an abandoned building. It's like, what are you talking about? It's a landmark. It's part of the furniture of the city for a long time. A building that we could all be proud of, you know, something that just was a really cool and interesting space. And if it was no longer going to be used by the pensions company or whatever, you know, why could we not have something interesting happen? And even if it was going to be turned into some form of housing, why does it have to be luxury flats with a tiny provision of what they call affordable housing, which isn't affordable? It's just a term, isn't it, that they use? It's not affordable. Anyway, Niall Fraser, a born and bred Dundonian. I lived and worked in Edinburgh, just off Leith Walk from 86 to 89, hence my interest. Well, you're welcome here, Niall. The building is spectacular. Example of Basil Spence. How is it allowed to be destroyed? Because the people that make the decisions in our council are morons. I had a wee pop at Ross Mackenzie yesterday. Let's go and have a look at that. Ross Mackenzie's the guy that likes to call himself an independent councillor, but he got elected under the Labour banner, and then in some sort of sort of performative statement of integrity decided that he was going to be an independent councillor, and he always likes to push this idea that he's an independent councillor. But let's see if he could get elected as an independent councillor, because he got elected under the Labour banner. And I tell you what, he's not remotely radical. He tried to present himself as oppositional towards a bunch of student flats that had been given the go-ahead yesterday, but it was very much a sort of after the event, like, you know what I mean? He hadn't really mounted any public opposition to them happening, and that's his word. Affordable equals bought and rented out by a landlord. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Beldam Lascar says, boils my piss too. It makes me very sad. That is genuinely how I feel about it. I feel a sense of sadness about it. And I think that's the thing. That's why I found, as Bojaws McGlinty said, that's why I was so affronted by the Hidden Door thing the other year there when they did it, because the way that they talk, gentrifiers and those involved in the gentrification process always have the same sort of attitude. And this is another thing about bourgeois settler colonialism. It's like, this is another thing that you'll notice. There's lots of, you'll see on social media, I mean, it's also compounded, I think, in our current time by social media, you know, by the fact that everything is publicised one way or another. But so you'll see lots of things now in Edinburgh where there's lots of social media groups appearing and stuff, or pages appearing where it's like, you know, be part of the community, or like, are you in Edinburgh? Like, make friends with people and stuff like that. And if you think about it for a minute, it's like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with coming somewhere, networking, meeting people, you know, feeling part of a community, whatever, right? But it's quite intriguing that it's very much like a bunch of people who don't really know anybody, and it's like, well, why don't you know anybody? It's like, because you've come here from somewhere else. You're not from here, right? You've not got any family here, you've not got any roots here or something. Nothing particularly wrong with that either. But what's quite weird is that often these groups, they become like friends of somewhere. They'll create a group and it'll be like friends of Calton Hill, or friends of this, or friends of that. And it's a kind of way, it's a sort of like very sort of insidious kind of way of just gradually sort of like becoming like the de facto representatives of a place. Because all of a sudden there's like 4 or 5 of you, and it's like, oh, suddenly you're the community. And this is how it's done. Like, boils my piss too, makes me very sad. Close the parks for a few hours on the weekend, or for special events by all means. But they're trying to turn it into a nature reserve. Bang on. 100%. That is what they're doing. That is what they're doing. What was it? Chris says ended up working there for widows in my 20s. What can you tell us about it? Was it a nice building to work in? I noticed that when we were kids, we climbed over the wall and there's like a garden bit, and there was like loads of old trees and everything like that. And apparently that's all getting flattened. So they're even flattening the sort of part of it that you know, the environmental part of it, you know. Loved that building. Thought it was a spaceship when I was wee going to the commie. Totally, man. It had an amazing vibe. It had an amazing energy. It still does. It's like it's a total tragedy. It's a travesty that the city council have allowed that to be turned into luxury flats. This was Beldam's comment, transplanted by me to YouTube. Where are we? Let's get a picture of I'll get a picture of it on here. In fact, let's look. I'll cut to a break in a minute and we'll come back and look at it. Katrina Grant. The unelected officials don't know. Thank you very much for someone who has just donated. In fact, if you've got a few quid in your pocket, fling it my way. We want to be building the discontent, what the ex-empire. And I can only do it with your help, you wonderful strangers out there in the ether. The elected officials don't know about our city's architecture. I think we are fond of it because it was near the pool and the big goldfish, carp. Well, they're no carp. Or there was carp in the museum as well. They done it to the museum. They done the same thing to the museum. They ruined it. Like, I know that there's things about the museum. The new museum are great, but I don't think they should have done that to that. They took away that Victorian ornate element to the museum, and to me that was criminal. Why did they do it? So they could hold fucking events for cunts. That's why they did it. So they could have a big space for corporate events. And they fucking killed all the fish for corporate events. But it's a beautiful modern building. It's an amazing modern building. Bojo's McGlinty. Hidden Door, as we speak, are discovering. Well, I can tell you what, somebody had sent me some pictures from their opening escapade, and I think the only people that were there were the families and friends of the performers. I don't think there was that many people there. Who's going to go away there? You know, they'll probably get a busy weekend, but Hidden Door. Right, let me tell you what the problem I've got with Hidden Door. Right, the problem I've got with Hidden Door. Right, the fundamental problem I've got with Hidden Door. It's a bunch of. Okay, it's profoundly middle class, okay, but it's state funded. Why is Hidden Door supported by Creative Scotland? Why did Creative Scotland give Hidden Door money? Who are they and what do they do? How many local artists and bands are they actually, have they historically actually platformed, and how many are even at this particular event? I bet it's not that many. It's not that many. It's just a transient student population. It's a jamboree for cunts, and they've sort of realised, oh, we better do something. So they've peppered it with a few people, a few local faces here and there now, to try to give them some sort of authenticity. But why Creative Scotland? Why are they getting more money? More money off the state. More money off the state for a bunch of middle class twats. That's what it is. Demand control of the commons. I couldn't agree more. Hidden Door, as we speak, are discovering a soon-to-be developed building on the outskirts. Not looking like a good turnout this year, but I'm sure they got their funding. I expect the developers will be moving in after they get out on Monday. Yeah, absolutely. The gentry. Here we go. Why is it not doing that? Is it too many words? What's Kit Kat saying? You will be. Who didn't? Who didn't love the fish at the museum? See, this is the thing. There's just no consultation, is there? There's no sense of like everything. It just feels like it's, you know, we talk about it being settler colonialism, but it's true because what it comes with is an arrogance and an ignorance and an erasure, right? See when you come from Edinburgh and you grew up in Edinburgh, you know it's a beautiful city, and you know that, but there's something that you always were aware of. You're always like, well, but you don't own it, right? It's not yours, so you kind of respect it. You kind of go, right, well, you would do this and that. I remember Stevie Reynolds. I remember the Laird of Carmore saying to me when Adam McVeigh had allowed Underbelly to destroy the gardens, right? And I mind Stevie going to me, and it was the way that he said it. There was just this sincerity in what he was saying, and I remember thinking at the time, you know what, you're dead right. And he goes, somebody from Edinburgh would never have allowed that to happen. And that, I think it's that aspect of it that is so misunderstood by these arrogant bastards that are destroying this city. They don't understand the subtlety, the notion that, like, when you come from this town, yeah, it's a beautiful city. Everybody knows Edinburgh is a beautiful city. But the reason it was a beautiful city and managed to sustain being a beautiful city for so long is because it was relatively unfucked with. It was certain parts of it, at least. There's always been. It's wrong to say that this is, you know, it was always like respected, because that's not true. There's always instances where buildings were put up and things were done or things were knocked down that shouldn't have been. But there was certain parts of the city that were basically like, nah, you didn't mess with that part of it. And the gardens was one of them. And with the commercialisation of the gardens and this new desire, this predatory desire to completely terraform it into this complete neoliberal fuck zone, you know? That's nonsense. I mean, what are we going to do as a city? What are we going to do as a community? Are we just going to allow this to happen? You know, we need to, you know, I am but one voice. And I would ask you all to support and share What the X, Discontent, you know? If you like what we say here, if you're interested in what we try to do, we'd like to expand on it. We'd like to bring more voices in. I want to interview people. I'd like to bring people in and interview them. I'd like to do a lot more of that. I can't do that without support. So once again, I will ask you all, if you're watching from behind the curtain or you're a regular viewer or otherwise, please help to support What the X and Discontent. It's very much appreciated. Everything you give goes into making something happen, trust me. The fishes at the museum was my favourite bit as a kid, and my eldest two were able to experience it too. Genuinely the kind of thing that actually draws kids to the museum. Yeah, that's true. I mean, the museum, I think, in fairness to the museum, my wee nephew, he loves the museum, and kids do love it, right? But we always loved the museum, right? You know, but there was just something about how the museum was that it's just that I think it's just another example of it. This continual erosion, this continual eradication of what was there. There's no effort to protect any of the aspects of how things were, you know. Thank you very much, Indie Scott News. Reposted the stream. I'm clicking on the wrong button here. Oh, it's over here. It was our places. It doesn't matter where you come from in the city. It was everyone's. I think that's very true. I think that's the aspect that this is the sort of thing that I was trying to allude to when I did my live as well. I was trying to sort of get that point across that you know, there was a sort of unsaid. It's almost like these people that have arrived, you know, under Paul Lawrence's tenure or whatever. It's like they're just kind of rearranging the furniture without any concern for the fact that, you know, like that sideboard's been there for 150 years, pal. What are you doing? Do you know what I mean? A jamboree of cunts. Perfect description for the toff management on Chambers Street. up their own arses. See, I'm enjoying this activity on X. If we get much more, if this happens again, we will have to amalgamate these conversations. I've held out this long. Bojo's McGlinty. The first 2 hidden doors at the Roxy were grassroots. Well, this is what happens, isn't it? Why are we surprised? It's like it's like another endeavour that started off by pulling on the locals before they fucking sold out and fucked off to all the poshos. Genuinely exciting and wondrous. They have actually erased the first 2 from their history on their 12th anniversary. They called it their 10th. 10 years since they became corporate. Well, there you go. There you are. King of clubs. I can't even mind the last time I was up the tune. Just tourists and students in it. My old motor is probably banned. No thought there's any way to park it up there anyway. No, there isn't anywhere to park it. Take care, Niall. Keep on trucking yourself, bro. No, you don't. You certainly don't. I'm going for a short break. I'm going to put a short clip by the incredibly talented Liam Barty on. Played a wee clip of his video. It's very informative. I was unaware of the etymology of psychology. Were you? Was anyone else here aware of that? If not, you're about to find out. And it's talk like this that I think we need in this current paradigm, in this epoch. I think this is what we require in these uncertain times, as they say. I'll be back shortly, folks.
What is psychology? It's a word that's come to mean the scientific study of the mind and its functions. And I don't know about you, but I find that language to be so mechanistic and cold and inhuman. The idea of functionality feels so machine-like to me. And that's not to say that our mind doesn't have functionality, because of course it does. And in many ways we need to study it so that when it isn't performing its basic functions, we can get it fixed. But that definition, the scientific study of the mind and its functions, it leaves out so much. And what it leaves out, we put over there and we say, okay, that's spirituality, that's philosophy, that's mythology. But what if I told you that the word psychology literally means the study of soul? Like, that's what the word means. Psyche is a Greek word that means soul. The Latin version is anima, and ology comes from logia and logos and means the study of a subject. So psychology literally means the study of soul. And when I first learned this and thought about the implications of what it meant, it kind of blew my mind, no pun intended. And you might very well say, okay Liam, that's all very interesting, but words change their meanings all the time. Like, why does any of this matter? And I think I'd say, well, if we were just talking about a random word, then sure, it doesn't matter. But we're not. We have a lot of problems with our psychology right now. And when we're literally misunderstanding and misinterpreting the word itself, I can't help but think that's a massive, glaringly obvious clue as to where the problem might be. We have a bit of a balancing act when we talk about soul, and I think it's useful to use the metaphor of a bridge, which is a very important image for a number of reasons that I'll go into. On one side of this bridge we have materialism, matter, the current scientific worldview concerned with all that is physical and literal. And on the other side we have spirit, religiosity, abstract notions like God the Father and sin. And when we talk about soul, we're likely to be misinterpreted from both sides of this bridge. In our current paradigm, dominated by the scientific materialist worldview, people are likely to equate soul and spirit as belonging to the non-physical, maybe even paranormal. Someone might invoke the words woo as in all that woo-woo stuff. Alternatively, those who are very spiritually inclined are likely to look at some of the discourse around soul with its Greek polytheism and paganism and its connection to the material world as somehow being evil or satanic in some way. So it's really no wonder why this perspective has struggled in the past centuries, caught in bitter wars between the science and the church. So why the metaphor of a bridge? Well, the word metaphor is itself a metaphor. It comes from the Latin metaphora, which means to carry across. So a metaphor is a bridge that connects or mediates between two realms. And in this place of mediation or imagination, when standing on this bridge, we are in soul. We're in the world of metaphor, and we're able to gain insights into certain things about the world. Now, understandably, you might say, okay, Liam, psychology really means this, metaphor actually means that. Clearly, you like wordplay and etymology. Why does any of this matter? Which again is a really interesting figure of speech. When we say, why does this matter? We're essentially saying, how does this relate to matter, to the physical world? Now, I need to do that thing where I say I'm not a doctor or a psychiatrist, I'm just some guy with some thoughts, so take whatever I say with a pinch of salt. But anyway, let's say you're depressed. In today's medical language, you have this condition called depression. In the literal scientific world, your mind is not functioning as it should be, and it needs to be fixed. Now, this is often done with behavioral or pharmaceutical interventions that are designed to make you function better. And they often achieve those ends. They allow people to carry on functioning the way they think they should. And that's fine. I'm not interested in how people function or telling people how they should function. This video isn't about ethics. It's about imagination. But let's say you wanted to try something else. The literal and scientific approach wasn't doing much for you, and you didn't much fancy going to church or praying to God for help. A soul-centered approach might look something a bit like this. And again, I'm not a Jungian analyst, so please consult with one before trying any of this at home. But what Hillman or another analyst might do is encourage you to become interested in your depression. And again, if you'll bear with me for another bit of wordplay, then looking at this word interested, I think is important here. Interest is made up of inter and esse. Inter means with, and esse, as in essence, means being. So to be interested in something means to be with something. And you can start to see how radically different this approach is from the current one. Rather than simply a symptom to get rid of, depression becomes a phenomenon to explore. An analyst might ask you, what does this depression feel like? Where is it in your body? What images does it bring up for you? Does it appear in your dreams? And then, as you start to move down this road or across this bridge, you might start to feel like you can communicate with your depression, like it wants something from you. Maybe it wants you to paint pictures of it, or write about it, or dance with it. And here's the absolutely wild thing. What began as a horrible, negative symptom to get rid of might actually become one of the most meaningful and important things in your life.
Okay. A very interesting video. Monsieur Barty. That's Liam Barty. I will drop. Sharpie says, "Who is that? Who is that dude?" I'll just. I'll give you his. I'll drop his video in. Brilliant. It is absolutely fantastic. So let's get everybody liked and subscribed to his channel, because I can only imagine that he will be doing more of that. I'll drop it in the chat here, and also here. There you go. So, I mean, this is the thing. It's almost like I've been growing about this notion of consciousness as a human right, you know, and I feel that there's been this well-established notion that the neoliberal project is undoubtedly a project of consciousness suppression, primarily class consciousness, but really all forms of consciousness, so that we're just basically recipients, kind of passive recipients of prescribed culture. I had put on my Instagram over the last week an AMA, an Ask Me Anything, where I have asked people to submit questions for a video that I'm going to make, and there's been quite a number of cool responses to that. I'm going to keep the questions anonymous in terms of who's asked them, so if you want to ask a question, you can ask it knowing that I won't reveal who it is that has asked the question. It's more just the question itself. But if you're not already following my my Instagram, then do follow me on Instagram. Which is there at NonEDFeeks. So you can follow me on Instagram, and when I put the AMA thing up, you can ask me a question. You can ask me anything you want, and I will endeavour to answer to the best of my ability in a forthcoming flick. But I think that what Liam is, begging us to do there is to just think past these very rigid protocols that we seem to have become so accustomed to, certainly when it comes to media and politics. And I'll get on to both of these things now, basically. I had a go at Brian Cox. I don't watch, what is it called, fucking debate night or question time or any of this stuff. I find these programmes an insult to my basic intelligence. I refuse to kind of watch them, but when the clips of them inevitably appear, with the sound bites inevitably emerge in the short time after they've aired, people tend to flock round them and provide them with more significance than they really deserve, in my opinion. But Brian Cox is an actor, right? And he is a good actor. I don't have any doubt about that. Manhunter, great film. But I don't think much about Brian Cox's politics. Brian Cox has been an ardent champion of the neoliberal Nats over the last decade or so. He is, in my opinion, a Scottish exceptionalist. So he called himself a socialist, and I don't know how he said on the programme that he saw himself as a socialist. Well, I don't know how you can claim to be a socialist yet advocate for the neoliberal Nats for so long. It suggests that you've you've not really grasped what's going on with politics over the last 40 or 50 years, you know? So this is already a kind of particularly weird contradiction that he seems to be expressing. But more than that, when it came to the issue, when I saw the clip of when he was going on about Gaza, right? So we'll get a quick look at that now. I think I put it here. Did I put it in here? Here it is here.
What we're seeing in Gaza and what has become in Gaza is a genocide.
I'll go and find it here. Just need to do this. Right. Bob Charlie in Brixton. There you go. Is that tomorrow? Aye. If you're in Livingston, then the Livingston HMV, Lindsay Dre is performing at 1 o'clock. There you go. Lindsay Dre is a great artist, so I would heartily recommend anybody in the Livy area to go and check out Lindsay. Right, let me find out about this. Let me see. Here it is here. Right.
What we're seeing in Gaza and what has become in Gaza is a genocide. It's an absolute genocide. And
right, so what do we need, right? We need, after 20 months, right, we need some lovey to speak to a bunch of bourgeois liberals in Portobello Town Hall who probably all voted for the Labour Party or other neoliberals to give a... Listen to this, right? To me, this is like... Check this. Check it.
Gaza and what has become in Gaza is a genocide.
What has become in Gaza is a... Oh, well done, Brian. That's fabulous. Yeah, it's an absolute genocide.
And they're getting away with it. Now, I have a lot of Jewish friends who are also very against what's happening and very against what Netanyahu is doing. And we need to move it away. And we do not make enough stand. We don't say enough is enough. It's the kids. I can't bear seeing these children who are endlessly killed. So many of these children have been murdered in this process. And I don't give a shit about the adults, excuse my language, but I really don't care about the adults, but I do care about the children. And it's the children that we're not looking after. The kids. I can't bear seeing these children who are endlessly killed. So many of these children have been murdered in this process. And I don't give a shit about the adults, excuse my language.
Why? Well, what's the drill with that exactly?
But I really don't care about the...
And then they're fucking like laughing in that. Like what?
Adults, but I do care about the children. And it's the children that we are not looking after. And what we should think about, our priority should be the children, the Palestinian children who are being decimated in this way. What we're...
Right, so basically, right, so has Cox been out there from the get-go, like, you know what I mean? So exactly, reprehensible viewpoint, qualified interest, right? So this is
what has become in Gaza is a genocide.
Right, so
it's an absolute genocide.
Imagine being that much of a fucking teapot. You're sitting in Portobello Hall and you're going to whoop and cheer after 20 months because some fucking prick that you like on the telly has fucking said that has stated the absolute fucking obvious after... I mean, how many are dead, right? Hundreds of thousands. How many are under the rubble? Like, it's inconceivable, right? You know? And this is like the tipping point now where it's like, it's become okay. You can start to say it, you know? Most of these fuckers said fuck all for a long time. The neoliberal culture merchants, the celebrities, you know? happy to have the kids alive but orphaned. Yeah, you know. So what's the story? Right, Gregor's given it. Cox read it. Right. Cox read the If I Should Die. Okay. But what is this, right? We need these kind of... This is the only way that we're able to mediate this horror, right? And part of the problem is the media as well. Part of the problem is these stupid programmes, right? All of these people, how many of that audience voted for the Labour Party? I'm going to say a lot of them. I'm going to say a lot of the people in that audience voted for the Labour Party, right? Do we really need a bunch of liberals, a bunch of fucking stupid twats that want to go and watch some stupid pantomime, you know, Q&A show? You know, some controlled discussion, you know, absolute nonsense. So no, I think I stand by my position on Brian Cox, and I find all of this vulgar. That's what I find. I find it all garbage, beyond garbage, Gregor. Debate night and question time are both. They're just prescription kind of culture, you know. We're past the point of this stuff, you know. We're past the point of neoliberals. If you're going to vote for neoliberals, you're going to go and vote for party politicians. It's just a debasement of intellect. You're past the point. This is just ridiculous. It's a waste of time. Porty is wall-to-wall Labour and Green, yeah. A bunch of Green Party performative fucking socialists, like, you know. How many folk in there have got all their electric bikes and all the rest of it, like, you know? Bit of a dafty who hasn't thought it through, let's be fair. The logic implies that he can handle adults getting butchered.
And they're getting...
The logic implies that he can handle adults getting butchered. But as soon as the age drops below some arbitrary threshold, that's when he says something about it. Yeah, anyway, that annoyed me. Just to let you know. So the next thing I want to look at is this. I might have to look at it here. Is he implying the adults are all Hamas? Maybe. Maybe that is what he's implying. I find it pretty weird anyway, that's for sure. The Grange Hill headmaster has thrown his tuppence worth in. The horrendously dangerous situation in Iran must stop. The international community must bring Israel to account and halt this latest escalation of conflict in the Middle East. Well, John, you weren't saying that when you and Angus Robertson had the Israeli ambassador, deputy ambassador round for a haggis supper, were you? I find the SNP's position on Gaza and the crisis, to use a term that somebody put there, is reprehensible. Like, you know, they've been found out with this. You've got Stephen Flynn fanning around the place, trying to pretend that he's vehemently opposed to this. And then he does another interview 5 minutes later where he's fanning about on the green outside Parliament talking about football and that. You know, these people are morons. These people are fucking morons. But then people keep voting for them. I'm not saying that those people are morons, but until we can have a sizable shift in who we actually elect, which takes me to the council elections, which is what I was wanting to get to here. I have to look at it on this. Let me find my... How do I find the boys' account? I've actually got it here. Q.queering. I wonder if I can find it if I go like... Here it is. So this is the... on the 26th of June, which is maybe like a week next Thursday or something, is the by-election, which I am actually a candidate in. If you know anybody in Ward 9, Fountain Bridge, Craig Lockhart, then you can actually vote for me. We have no funded campaign. We'll try and do something. Whoever gets 1,000 votes will probably win it. But the guy that the Green Party have put up is this guy called Q. He's called Q.queering. Q McVanaman, right? Is it Q? I don't know what. Is it Q? Manavanan. Q Manavanan. And so this is Q Manavanan. Let's see what he's. Where's his video? He's spoken to hundreds of people. I mean, he seems like a nice enough chap. I shouldn't call him a he though, because he's a they them. I'm not supposed to call him a he. Where's his promo video? Here it is here. Let's have a listen to what Q. He's called Q. Isn't that the boy from James Bond? He was called Q, wasn't he? Right, let's see what
Caring, kinder politics.
A caring, kinder politics.
Hi, I'm Q Manavanan and I am your Green candidate for the upcoming council by-election in Fountain Bridge, Craig Lockhart on the 26th of June.
Great hair, eh?
And I am standing because I believe in a caring, kinder politics. One that actually listens to people. One that brings together people and communities. And I...
All right then, well what are you doing shutting off the park, right? Because that's causing a big problem for the communities, but you didn't care about those communities because the only communities you're interested in are the ones that live around about the canal.
I believe in real action. In action on road safety, on fairer rents, on tenants' rights, on workers' rights, on whether it's a pedestrian crossing on Ashley Terrace, better canal side lighting.
A wee bit local info there, eh? Hey, the pedestrian crossing on Ashley Terrace.
Preserving our green spaces along the Water of Leith and the Union Canal, I believe that I will bring a fresh, new energy to the City Council chambers, past a politics of distrust and suspicion to a politics of care and collaboration.
By being part of a party block vote, yeah, that makes sense.
I need your vote. I firmly believe that it's going to come down to you electing a second Tory candidate, or me, your Green candidate. So please, support me. And in return, I promise that I would do you justice to the best of my abilities. Thank you.
Right, okay, so we can have Q.
I think I have definitive cross-party group on challenging racial and religious prejudice is either simply not reading the reports and motions submitted to it, or is actively peddling religious extremism under the guise of religious equality.
He's got.
I'm Anthony Carroll.
He's got. Wait, let's see this one.
I'm Anthony Carroll. I'm the co-convener of the association.
Oh no.
I'm Anthony Carroll, I'm the co-convener of the Association of Scottish Green Councillors, and I'm here with Q, who's the candidate in the by-election for Fountain Bridge and Craig Lockhart. He made a
Why have we got some Ouija guy? You're a Ouija, mate. I can tell you're a Ouija just by the way you're talking.
Councillor for this area and fighting for people and planet.
So the elections are on the 26th of June, and my focus has been on road safety, better canal side safety for residents, as well as building better caring communities that look after our green and blue spaces. And if that's the kind of politics you'd like to vote for, I'd love your support in any way that you can. Please feel free to get in touch. And yeah.
I vote for Q on the 26th of June. I'm Anthony Carroll. I'm the...
Well, okay. So you could vote for me, or you could vote for Q. It's up to you. It's up to you.
Convener of the association.
I've spoken to
He's got about as much class politics as Maggie Thatcher, like, you know what I mean, in my Lord of the Rings. Quite. Anyway, so this is the by-election candidates. We'll maybe make an effort to look at the rest of them before the election. Let's go back to X just now. Oh, Weng to Weng. Weng to Weng is graced us with his presence once again with his incredible array of memes. I bet Weng is watching this right now. Weng, if you're watching, don't be afraid to join us. I stay in Porty and have never even kent he was there. He says things like folk want to hear. Is this Brian Cox we're talking about? Bear's Den, by the way he's dressed. Israel says it strikes targeted nuclear sites in Iran as US says it is not involved. Jim Slavin says the nuclear sites equals apartment blocks. The political class, including the media, are providing cover. Often cheerleading for an evil regime. If genocide wasn't a red line, there is no red line. Supporting the system here is to support perpetual war, a political failure and ethical collapse. Absolutely correct. And that goes for all of those Muppets that were sitting in Portobello Town Hall the other night there clapping on because their liberal genitalia was tickled by Brian Cox telling them it was a genocide. Like, you know, all of those people are the problem. Liberals are the problem. You are the problem. Centrists and liberals, you are the problem. You are the morons who, rather than figuring out that the problem on your doorstep of poverty and disenfranchised people who are struggling to get by, who are going to food banks, they're the same people. When some of those people get mopped up by reform, you're going to criticise them and castigate them as being morons and idiots because you're sanctimonious liberals. You are the problem. Because you would rather have some managerial class, middle class person that you can sort of feel like you could have a conversation at over a dinner party table than somebody from a class that you feel terrified about, you know? Oh no. You are the problem. Liberals are the problem. He's the councillor for Royston. What, that guy with the red trousers? What we need is the councillor for Royston to come over to Edinburgh to tell us what the local people need in Edinburgh. That's what we need. This is party politics in a nutshell. Freddie, as we move into the World War III phase of this, never forget that for the past 20 months, your Scottish independence hero at Wings Over Scotland has been calling both sides bad and attacking anti-Zionist protesters. Who are the stupid cunts now? Flabby Mess only hits keys. Bet he's a shite bag in person. That goes without question, isn't it? He's an absolute teapot, him. But it's true. Let's listen to what this guy says. Let me just restart my loop back. Q's Armstrong's tactic leather jacket would get more votes than Q's himself. He's a handsome laddie. Let's not take that away from Q. But evidently completely ineffective when it comes to local politics, which probably means he'll get elected. Unless the good people of Edina get word that they could elect Bonnie Prince Bob in the same ward. But how would that happen? How could we get the people to know that they have a local champion, that all they need to do is scrawl an X in a box, and then on the 26th, by the 27th of June, I could be in the city chambers, giving it tight to the council class. Oh, how we can dream. I'm happy, and I'm happy to respect people's pronouns. Good for you. That's fabulous. Thanks for sharing that with us. What's going on here? I've got white noise. Okay. What's this boy saying?
If anyone was in any doubt that the United States' entire body politic is corrupted not by just corrupt politicians in the United States, but by a foreign power, then tonight's airstrikes on Tehran are proof positive. The United States, in terms of its foreign policy, which will ultimately, and has previously, affected ordinary men, women, and children in the United States, is actually all geared and run by Israel. The power of Israel's money completely corrupts the United States, which is why Donald Trump said, kind of go ahead. At the same time, he didn't want Israel to attack Iran. But of course, Israel is more powerful than Donald Trump is. So when Mike Huckabee, a Christian Zionist who believes that one day, at the Day of Judgment, all Jews will go to hell except those who believe in Jesus Christ, when he said, I'm monitoring this overnight, it's the middle of the night in his embassy that was moved, of course, by Trump's previous administration, everyone had to realize that those who wanted peace had failed in the United States. Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, signaling at Hiroshima that there were forces trying to gear the world to war, and nuclear annihilation was the only power that she had to be able to exert, even as director of national intelligence, overseeing intelligence briefings to Donald Trump. It meant nothing. It seems that Britain, which has been helping Israel with spy flights, has been helping the genocide in Gaza, the European Union, the United States, they're intricately woven into the fabric around Netanyahu and a few of his cabinet ministers, armed to the teeth with billions of dollars of public money from NATO countries. Of course, this raises the specter of retaliation, and there's no doubt that those who see themselves as resistance forces for the Palestinians, except for a few exceptions, have failed to protect the people of Gaza. These are the...
Yeah, it's saying, I mean, most people, I can't bring myself to listen to John Swinney just now. Right, well, I think we're heading to the conclusion for this morning. I must say I've enjoyed the, what's the old master himself, Jameson, saying? I always like his, it's always got to be an extra wee, one of two at the very least from Jameson. Just checked some of the output from Scotland's lead political correspondents. Predictable quiet and apathy. You can't report on Starmer's war readiness speech in a Govan shipyard, then go back to pretending Scotland is the local land for local people when convenient. Every major Scottish politician should be oxymoronic, contradiction in terms. Every major Scottish politician should be under pressure this morning to explain their attitude on sending arms to Israel, on the status of the ambassador here, and at John Swinney, your attempts to censor speech on Israel and Palestine. Can I implore everybody that uses X to retweet this, what Jameson has just said there? I've just retweeted it. John Swinney should be under pressure about this, and we should also have the Israeli ambassador expelled from the UK, you know? Really, it's a question of this. It's a question of what is your position on Gaza, what is your position on Palestine. That's the fundamental question for anybody entering the political field right now. And public condemnation is the very least that we expect from any of these people. And if not, then they deserve every pejorative laced assault that anybody can muster upon them, myself included. Right, my good friends, comrades, whatnot. Thanks for joining me again this morning. It has been a pleasure as always. Once again, please try to support What the X and Discontent. Follow me, subscribe, donate, share. Sharing is an important one. If you like what we do, if you like what I'm about, share it. My pronouns are he. My pronouns are he, her. Great to see so many familiar faces and so many new names appearing over the last couple of weeks. Keep it coming. I'll try and get in an extra show next week with the election, the by-election looming. Nigel, you have a good weekend yourself. As I said, it's the Leaf Gala day over the weekend here. I saw that Lindsay Dray was on in Livingston. Go and check her out. But yes, I hope that the sun shines for us all over this next 48 hours or so, and that you just have a good one. I'm going to leave you with a track that I came across the other week there. It's a belter of a remix by Don Letts. It's got Junior Gong in it, Damien Marley, and it's Sean Cootie. It's Fela Cootie's youngest laddie, and it's called Day. And if you know what day means, midday, you know, midday. So enjoy this, and I'll catch all you good people very soon. Ciao.
Always certain ones that the most I call upon to do a different work.
Now when this come the man called Sean Cootie alongside yours truly, Big Gangzilla.
To pass myself, I just one day. I know be everybody worship money. I know they show myself, I just one day. I say, shit, you day your day, brother. You day your day, sister. You day your day, brother. You day your day, sister. Say you day your day, brother. You day your day, sister. You day your day.
As long as the sun will shine on the face of man, I don't see no guy can erase the plan. Some guy should have wise and understand what will be must be. Jump out on the road and we safely try and make it back in by the grace of God. Some guy love talk but them face the bad, what will be must be.
Now my lane a day, I no get time to chase cloud. I'm more happy, nobody like me.
think them fi know man while when them think with him. Them think them know, them just know the name. What will be must be. Try uplift, not free the turf. What will be must be, must be, must be, must be, must be.